Good afternoon, Warriors! Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys having a nice day today. I didn't get a chance to do one this morning, but I got a break a little bit before I travel on. I wanted to kind of talk to you guys about a topic. Hope you guys are doing well. Hope you guys are on your plan and your purpose, and it's wonderful to get a chance to talk with you guys again. Thank you for all the donations, the subscriptions. I think we're keep moving ahead. We're trying to get this message out to as many people as possible. I know this has grown a lot, and I remember days long time ago, before the 60s revolution, 70s period of time, where we had a lot of people who were kind of talking about this, and in different ways. We want to call it celibacy, brahmacharya, sophism, but it's nice to kind of see that we're back into this type of attitude that maybe we should be refraining from all this kind of stuff. The key thing, guys, to remember that the society, even though society may be telling us that sex is prevalent, everybody's doing it, and if you're not doing it as a problem, is wrong. What we need to do is kind of realize that God did not want us to think about this all day long, chasing people around all day long, looking at pictures all day long. God wanted us to focus on trying to get things done in our lives to accomplish His purpose, to go ahead and make ourselves the best person we can become, and to make us a person that's worthy of God's praise and those type of things, knowing that we're doing the right thing in God's word. So if He's okay with that, that's the way we should be. So thinking about that, we should be able to kind of follow His lead and follow His example and do the best we can not to fall into all these temptations and things that we're doing. Now, speaking of temptations, I want to go focus on something that Herb Street 888 said, and I hope you're doing well, my friend. I hope you're focusing and getting back into patterns. I know that you've texted a couple times or said things a couple times back and forth, things not going totally the way you want in your plan, but that's okay. Now, he had a good comment about video call apps. So let's talk about this a little bit as far as semen retention goes and video call apps. Now, honestly, I don't know as much about this because I don't get involved with the technology, and maybe that's good because I don't use technology at all when it comes to all these type of things with images and people's social media. But from what I understand with a video call app, obviously you can talk to the person, you can look at the person. It's not like a phone call necessarily. You're talking to people and you're basically kind of interacting with them, and so you obviously see them. So I can reflect on that part of it. So what I would say, Herb Street 888, what I would say, my friend, is that because men are very visually oriented, you have to understand that men and women look at things differently. And this is the key to understanding what we're dealing with here. This is why I don't really talk that much to women about retention. A few women have talked about it to me, but lots of women, this is not a major concern for them. Because as women think about things, especially younger women, now we're talking about 40 and 50 years old, that's kind of more of the example that I talk with them about. When we're talking about 20s and 30s, a lot of the women in that age area focus on other things besides the physical nature of things. They may still act in that way, but they're not like men when it comes to thinking about sex. And this is the kind of stuff we're talking about when we talk about a video call app. We're not talking about obviously having physical sex, but we're talking about then is looking at a picture and seeing a person. Now that person may be appropriate and they're talking with you, but still you're thinking in terms of that lustful behavior. And that's when you get into trouble with the call apps, any kind of pictures, anything you're seeing. So I definitely would be very careful with a lot of these things that you do in social media, and I'd be careful with the visual pictures you have, because men are very visually oriented. And so as you look at things, men look at things in a visual way. To give an example, if two people start dating, the male will be attracted, first thing they see is the physical nature of the female. And females know this. This is why we talk about the perfume business, dresses, clothing, Victoria's Secret, all this kind of stuff focuses on the women being alluring, which means the man will be attracted. Now, once the relationship starts, if they don't talk, if men and women don't talk, and all they're doing is doing the physical stuff, then there's no relationship really building. Yes, you may have a physical pleasure for a little bit, but then the relationship fizzles out because you're not really focusing on that person. You're focusing on the physical aspect of that person. And there's a lot more to people than that. That's why we should not be spending all our time trying to, get sex all the time. And if you think about it logically, you should be spending your time doing a lot of other things besides that. And in fact, the only time, really, in my opinion, you should be doing this is really ready to procreate, especially releasing. Now, obviously, having intimacy with your wife, your girlfriend, that's something that you have to decide upon. But again, it's the mindset. It's not the fact that you did it once. It's the fact you do it over and over and over again. Because now this becomes your obsession. Instead of drugs, instead of alcohol, now your obsession is finding a woman. And no matter what the woman looks like, this is all you're thinking about all day long. I know, because I was there. I've been there before. And it's not a pleasant place to be, because now you're thinking that's all your life is revolved around. Who's the person that I can actually find next to have sex with? So this is why we talk about the video call apps, all these situations. Now, I understand why men get involved with this. If you're lonely, if you're having trouble finding somebody, obviously things like Tinder, OnlyFans, this is why people spend so much money on this stuff. Because they're trying to get a short-term pleasure. Maybe they're not happy, maybe they're looking for excitement, whatever the case may be. But remember, everything comes with a cost. Sleeping with somebody comes with a cost. You may not see it right away, but as time goes on, you're losing your soul. You're losing your soul in the addiction. And so we talk about the video call apps. It's very easy to get addicted to that as well. And this is why I think Herb Street 888, you got to make sure that you're not being so obsessed with this that it's gonna drag you down. Because what happens is you start getting into that rabbit hole. You're not only looking at this one time or getting involved one time, then you're calling somebody another time. Now again, let's look at this again from a different perspective. Because I'm an older person, I know technology changed. I just had a conversation with somebody this morning. The way you look at things now may be different. Technology has given people a lot more options to talk on the phone, to talk all kinds of things, to be able to interact, not physically, but first online. A lot of people find each other online first before they start dating. Those type of things can be beneficial, but you have to work on your skills when you're with that person. The communication skills are important when you're with that person, not so much online, even though that might be a good starter. The thing is, you never know who's online. And you can see the person, yes, but if you can't see the person, now even more so, you don't know who it is. There's these shows, kind of Catfish and these other shows that my kids used to show me, where people faked their Facebook, they faked their identity. So you don't know who they really were. So the thing is that with video call apps, it's very alluring to get caught into this. But remember one thing, men are different than women, especially in the early ages, the 20s and 30s, when you're focusing on how you look at things. Men will look at things visually right away. I'll give an example. A man can fall in love with a woman after 1 or 2 days because of the way she looks. Women might take 4 or 5. I've seen research on this as well. Many men will fall for somebody right away. And there's a number of reasons for that. But the biggest reason is that what they're seeing visually is so beautiful that this is the person they want. Now, because of that, they become kind of like a sad sack, a beta male, which is why we talk about you should not be paying attention to women all the time. Focus on your goals. If you're focusing on your goals, the woman will chase you. But if you're falling in love with a woman the first, second time you go on a date, which a lot of people do, it's because of the physical nature of that woman. She looks good. Maybe she have good intimacy. Now all of a sudden you're hooked. Women, it takes 4 or 5 times at least to start getting that feeling, because they're looking at things from a nurturing, a long-term standpoint, not a short-term. And because of that, then, men can easily fall into the pattern of becoming this beta male, and the woman will eventually drop them. It happened to me at least once or twice when I was in college. Because I was so inexperienced, I didn't date anybody actually in high school. I was very shy. So I basically ran into this problem. I'd date a girl, it was all good at the beginning, but it was me who then became like a beta male, because I basically fell in love with looking at her. And this happens in the history of mankind. It's happened thousands of times. You look at a picture, this is why Cleopatra was so, amazing to people. Why all these people are. Marilyn Monroe, all these people over the years. You can see that. Because they look good. And men have always been attracted for women to look good. But then they fall for that woman, and they're ready to give anything to the woman, and then the woman rejects them eventually, because they don't want that. Women do not want to be put on a pedestal for the most part. Even though all these companies tell us this, all this media tells us this, they do not want that. They eventually want a regular person that's going to provide, protect, those type of things. And so males make the mistake of falling in love with something they look at. Take your time, my friends. Don't fall in love with the video app, the person on the app. Don't fall in love with that because you see it. This is why men have trouble with these online things, because they fall in love quickly because of what they see. Women are not looking like that because they're looking for a different purpose. They're looking for a longer term type of commitment, which is why a lot of women in their 30s and 40s are upset because men are not committing to them anymore because of the whole situation, and MGTOWN's a good example of that. All right, my friends, enough talking for this one. Again, Herb Street 888, hang in there, my friend, but I would recommend get away from the video apps. Don't put yourself in a position right now until you're stronger, at least, and even then I wouldn't put myself in a position, but if you got to do it, wait until you get stronger. Build yourself up more. Build your streak up more. And then once you get in that streak, then you're able to go ahead and say, okay, if I got to do it once in a while because I want to maintain a friendship with somebody, that's fine. But don't get into the visual picture. The problem for men is the visual. What they see something that looks sexy, now they're in love. Now, what type of love it is, that's a good question, but that's another one for another time. All right, my friends, warriors, have a great rest of your day. And I appreciate everything you guys are doing. I feel very blessed. Keep it up, and we'll talk again soon. Until next time, guys, remember 2 things. 1, every day is a new day to a great warrior. And number 2, battle on!